Namaste guys, good evening to all of you. First of all, thank you so much for taking out your time and coming back for this workshop. I'm sure yesterday's session was very informative for you and you learned how the approach should be for these coding interviews and you would have solved a couple of questions as well. Now, some of you probably will be confused that yesterday somebody else was taking the class, today somebody else is taking the class. Is it the same person dressed in a different way? No, my dear friends, it's two different people. Yesterday, it was Somanna, who's our subject matter expert here at Rumen, who was taking the class. Today, it is me. My name is Rohit. I head the e-learning division here at Rumen Technologies. And I thought we will give you some variety, so that you don't get bored as such. Any which ways, today we have some really nice programs lined up for you. And these are programs which are asked in companies such as Mindtree, IBM, Tech Mahindra, etc. Now, there is a certain approach which you must have when attending these classes. See, what I want you to understand through this is that at the end of it, you will realize that these MNC questions really are not difficult. They're not. In fact, 99.9% of the questions asked in any MNC interview just require you to use the most basic fundamental building blocks available in a programming language. And what are the basic fundamental building blocks available in any programming language? Loops, variables, if-else conditions. These are the only thing. Arrays, strings. If you know basic data types, you know loops, you know if-else conditions, and you know array manipulations, 99% of the problems you can solve using just this knowledge is what I want you to understand, right? But still people fail. Why do they fail? Because they know these fundamentals, but they don't know how to use them. If I have to give you an analogy, imagine you don't know cooking, you have never cooked in your life, but somebody takes you to the kitchen and tells you that this is salt, this is pepper, this is chili powder, this is coriander, this is noodles, and this is your chaat masala, this is rice, this is pepper, this is turmeric, this is lime. They explain all the ingredients to you. You also remember this is that, that is this, that is this. But in your life, you never practically went and tried to mix the ingredients and create something which is considered to be food, which is edible. You never did that. That is the sad reality of today's engineering graduates. Yes, if you ask them what is a data type, maybe they'll be able to answer. If you ask them what is an array, theoretically they may be able to answer. But where to use an array, where not to use an array, how to manipulate an array such that you get an expected output, or in even more simpler words, how to use these fundamental building blocks available in a programming language to give a solution for a particular real world problem, you are not able to think. You are not able to connect a bridge between the real world life expectations and the coding paradigms or the coding features available in any language. You're not able to do that. Now, how do I do this? If you ask me, there is just one word, which is practice and practice and practice. But unfortunately, 99% of the people, the only practice they do is during the interview. That is the first time you would have seen a problem statement and you'll be trying to convert it into a program. And obviously, you fail the interview, you miss out on golden opportunities, and then regret that on a daily basis, thinking, hey, why couldn't I do it? Then that regret will slowly become self-doubt. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not fit for the IT industry. All these kind of questions, and from there it just spirals and spirals and spirals and spirals, and then people will be like, okay, maybe I did a big mistake learning engineering, maybe this is not where my passion and my heart lies, let me go do something else. No, there is only two problems with 99% of the engineers. In college they learned nothing, their fundamentals are not clear. Second is, even if they know fundamentals, how to use those fundamentals to your advantage, they don't know. They don't know. Because what you call as coding, my friends, is just using a machine to solve a real world problem. Instructing the machine to behave in a particular manner such that it is capable of solving a real world problem is what you call as coding. You take anything, my dear friend, right? You take Book My Show. Book My Show is solving a real world problem of ticket booking for movies. But how did it solve it? Using an application. What is an application? A software. What is a software? It's a collection of instructions. What is an instruction? Is nothing but programming blocks, programming lines. Code is what you call as instructions. That is where you are failing. You don't know how to use code to your advantage. You don't know how to make the computer work for you. And the most basic way to learn it is by solving the kind of questions which these companies ask, because they are looking for the foundation. If the foundation is there, they know that once you get a job, just little bit of polishing is required for you. All they have to do is they have to give you the real world experience of how a project works. In the project, when they give you a small task to do, it is these same fundamentals which will help you. But if you're not able to prove to the company that you're not even able to make these fundamentals work for you the way you want it to, then would you, if you were in that company's position, pay lakhs per annum to a person who can't write simple code, write simple coding solutions for a problem that you're given? No. So that's it. It's as simple as that. Anyways, enough story time. Let us go and see our first problem, and let me see how many of you are in a position to really solve this, right? So let me take you to our learning management system, and there let me directly show you the problem, right? So if in case I go down and I just click on these coding questions, then this is the first question which I would be doing, which is called as walk in a row. Now, this was asked in Mindtree, walk in a row, right? Now, what is the question? Let us read it. So if I scroll down a little bit. Now see, this is a coding question. How are you going to convert this English statement into coding? Let us see. Kirti and her friends are walking along the H, don't highlight it, is walking along the H height boundary walk, right? And there is a security guard next to the wall. They don't want them to be seen by the guard. To do this, everyone's height should not exceed H. When anyone has a height larger than H, he or she must bend down so that the guard does not see them. The heights of each person are given to you. Consider the width of the person walking upright to be equal to 1, while the width of the person who is bent is equal to 2. While walking, friends want to talk to each other. So they want to be as close as possible and walk in a row. What is the required road distance so that the friends can walk in a row and the guard cannot see them? Did it make sense to you? What now I am going to do is, I will remove myself from the screen. I will give you 1 minute time. I want you to read this. So I am just going to disappear from the screen. Read it and let us see if you're able to understand the question. Read it, all of you. Carefully, I want you to read it. See if you're able to understand the question. Because without understanding the question, how are you going to give a solution? So I hope all of you had time to read it. How many of you understood the question? Put a yes in the chat. Let me see how many of you even understood the question. If you understood, put yes. If you did not understand, put no. Let me see. And be honest to me. Why do you want to lie to me? Huh? No. Majority did not understand. Is there anyone who understood the question? One person. Sush, I don't know whether it's your full name or what. So Sush understood. Okay, great. Everyone did not understand. Fine. Let me visually try to explain to you what these people are saying. So watch it, all of you. Let's try to bring this scenario to life, shall we? Assume like this, what he's saying is, there is one wall, it seems, guys. There is one wall. Assume on the other side of the wall is a school. A group of friends called Kirti and her friends have bunked school. They have bunked school. Somehow they have jumped the compound and they are coming like this. On the other side of the compound, there is one security guard. So I'm showing him in that color because he's on the other side of the wall. Now, Kirti and her friends, right? They're of different heights. Now, these people want to walk through this wall without him seeing. Now, how will that happen, you might ask? Let me show you. Let us assume these are Kirti and her friends, right? So what is that 5, if you ask me? 5 friends are there. That is what it means. So watch it carefully. This is the first friend, second friend, third friend, fourth friend, fifth friend. 5 friends are there. Now, do you notice each of them are of different heights? Some of them, the security guard can't see. Some of them, the security guard clearly is able to see. Would you agree with me? Now, what they're saying is, hey, listen, if they have to go, if this fellow has to pass without the security guard being seen, then don't you think he has to bend down and walk like this? Correct? And they have put one condition. They are telling that if a person is standing straight and they are walking, every step, they need 1 unit. See, that 1 unit can be 1 meter or whatever, it does not matter. They need 1 unit. See, one step they will take. But if a person bends down, then the width of his step is going to increase. The width of his step is going to increase. So, based on the height, they want you to calculate that if they were walking normally, how much road will 5 friends require? Each fellow will require 1 unit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 units has to be the length of the road. But because few people bend down, if they bend down instead of 1 unit, it takes double, 2 units is required. Which means if all of them have to walk together, they are friends, they want to talk to each other, they want to talk and walk like this, then how much of road is required such that all of them can bend down, talk to each other, walk without the security guard noticing? This is the question. Sir, what kind of question is this, sir? If you ask me, don't ask me, go ask Mindtree. They are the people who designed the question. My duty is to only explain it to you. Now, sir, how will we get that knack of understanding these questions? If you ask me, simple practice. Did you ever practice? Every day are you going, taking such questions and doing? No. In fact, we gave you guys LMS access. We gave you the coding questions also. Many of you have not even logged in and checked. Even when something for free is given, many of you don't want to eat. So what can we really do about it? But the point is, did you understand the question? So now, the height of this wall, how much it is, if you ask me, then, and this 4, 5, 14, 7, 5 is the heights of these different people. So see, 4, 5, 14, 7, 5. Now, what is the height of this wall, if you ask me? Height of that wall is 6. 6 is the height of the wall. So tell me, out of these 5 friends, which are the 2 friends who have to bend and walk? Clearly, they are such people whose height is greater than 6. And how many people's height is greater than 6? 14 and 7. Which means they have to bend down and walk. If they have to bend down and walk, each of their step, which as of now is 1 meter, is going to become double and it is going to become 2 meters. So right now the road required is 5 meters. But if they bend down, see that is the height of the wall. If they bend down, double the width. Do you notice? Double the width they will take. These people are not bending, so same width. If they're not bending, the width required is 1. If they bend, width required is 2. If you add all of them up, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1. How much is it? 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. And that 7 is the width of the road required for these 5 friends to walk across this wall without being noticed by that security guard. Did you understand what I'm saying? This is the question. Now tell me how many of you understood the question. Put a yes in the chat if you understood. Even now, if you didn't understand, then God bless you. But did you understand is the bigger question. How many of you understood? Yes. Okay, great. Everyone understood. Good. 1 second. Let's switch on that. Yeah, so all of you understood it perfectly. Now, next what you may be wondering. Now, what we have to do is, given the number of friends, which is one input, given the heights of the friends, which is another input, given the height of the wall, which is the third input, what should you do? You have to write a function which will take the array of heights, which will take the height of the wall and do processing and return a single value. And which is the value which you should be returning? You should be returning the length of the road required. As simple. In this case, 7. So this is the program's expectation. Now that you understood this, I'm sure each of you will easily be able to write the solution. Shall we go write some code for the same? Before that, let me take you back to my LMS, my dear friend. If I take you back to the LMS, now if you look at the question and the expected inputs, it will become clear to you. See, if I scroll back on top, yeah, look at the function description. Come down. What is the function description? In the function, he is telling that, see, parameters. Parameters means input, 2 inputs, heights and h. Heights is an integer array, whereas h is nothing but an integer. 2 inputs it will take, 1 output it should return. What should it return? The function must return an integer denoting the required road distance. That's all you have to do. Come down. Few examples also they have given, sample cases. This is the input, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Output has to be 3, right? All persons have height less than equal to the boundary of the wall and hence nobody bends. Similarly, if I come down like 3, 4, 5, 14, 7, output has to be 4, like that. Why? Because only 3 people will bend. Therefore, 1 plus 1 plus 2 is equal to 4, like that. So just 1 second. Okay. Fine, guys. So now that it is clear, let's write some code, shall we? Okay. So now watch it. Let me take you to my editor. Like this in the interview, nobody will explain. That is why before going to the interview, you must listen to such explanations and learn the correct way. Anyways, Java is the programming language of choice here. Of course, this logic can be applied in any programming language. So watch it. If in case, yeah, first let me just show you how things flow, right? Very simple. So 5 is given to us, which is the number of people, number of friends. Then the input which will be given to you is the heights of each of the people, after which the height of the wall will be given to you. Each of this, I'm going to store it in individual variables. That is going to be n, which is the number of people. This is my array AR, inside which I will collect the heights 4, 5, 14, 7, 5. And finally, it is 6. And what is 6? Height of the wall, which I will just maybe store in a variable called as k. Any variable you can use. Now what I'm going to do is very simple. The concept is like this. What I will do is, I am going to iterate, or I'm going to run a loop over this array. Obviously, I is going to be the index or the looping variable, and first it will be pointing to the first element's index. Now, if I tell AR of 0, I will get 4. Now 4 is the height of the person. Should they bend or can they walk normally? Depends upon whether this is lesser than or greater than the height of the wall. Is 4 greater than or lesser than the height of the wall? Obviously it is lesser than. Should he bend? Not required. Which means what will I do, you might ask? Very simple. I'm going to keep width. If at all this value, right, which is AR of I, if it is lesser than K, which is the height of the wall, then what I will do is I'm going to increase the width by 1 because his step size is going to be 1. If he bends, it is going to be 2. So in this case, what should I do? Obviously, AR of 0 is nothing but 4. Is this true or false? Obviously, this is true. If this is true, I am going to increase the width by 1. Width equal to width plus 1, or you can just tell width plus incrementation will happen. And that is what I'm showing, right? After this, you're within a loop, which means this I value moves forward. And if in case this I value moves forward, it is the next element. Take the next element, AR of I, is it less than, okay? Here I value is 1, AR of 1 is 5, 5 is less than equal to 6, true. If it is true, he doesn't have to bend. If he doesn't have to bend, what should he do? Increase the width by 1. Again, move forward, take the next value, AR of I equal to K, AR of 2 is less than equal to 6, 14 is less than equal to 6, true or false? Obviously this is false. False means he has to bend. Bend means his step size is going to increase. In fact, it's going to double. Hence, don't increase width value by 1. Increase it by 2, right? And that is what I'm doing. Width equal to width plus 2. 4 it will be there. Similarly, it moves forward. Take the next value. Compare it. Is 7 less than equal to 6? False. False means he's bending. Bending means width will increase by 2. Move it further. It is 5. Again, just check AR of 5 less than equal to K. AR of 4 is nothing but 5. 5 less than equal to 6. Yes, it is true. If it is true, increase the width by 1 because he need not bend. And hence it is going to become 7. That is all. You got the output. Let us translate this into code. Let's do that. So if I take you here, what I'm now going to be doing is there I'll just remove that system.out.println of hello. Class is test and there is a main function inside that. Yeah, I'll remove that. Bring this entire class down. So watch it all of you. Now inside this, what I'm going to do is I will start by first of all collecting this n value from the user. I need to collect n value. So how will we do that? Simple. I will first import my scanner from my util package. So import java.util.scanner I will tell. And I'm assuming all the syntax of the language, features of the language you guys know. If in case you don't know Java and you want to learn it in a way you have never understood before, try taking up the core Java course here at Rumen. It is one of the most affordable courses, 100% online. And trust me, you will fall in love with Java. I can personally guarantee you that because I only taught that course. Anyways, inside this, what I'm going to do is, now that I have scanner imported, I'll create its object and keep it ready. So I'll just tell scanner type sc equal to new scanner, I will tell. And inside that system.in. Okay. After this, I'll put semicolon and then I'll come down and I have to take this n. So I will tell scan.nextInt. Right? So sc.nextInt. Now it will wait for an integer input. Whatever is entered, I will collect it and store it in an integer variable called as n. So I'll just tell int n like this. That's all. Next, I will come. N I've got. Now, if he has told 5 times you have to take input and store that within an array called as AR. And the size of this array, if you look at it, is same as n. If n is 5, size of the array is 5. So first let's create this array and keep it, which is of size n. How to do it? Simple. Arrays are objects in Java and hence I will tell new. What do I want to create? I want to create an integer array, so I'll tell int. Next, within brackets, I should tell the size of the array, and clearly this is a one-dimensional array, so I'll just use a single pair of brackets, and inside that, I will not tell 5. In general, I will tell whatever is n value, that should be the size of the array. That's it. Now I need to give a name or a reference to this object, and I'm going to call it as AR. And AR is an array of integers, and hence I will tell int, followed by brackets like this. So how should you read this? AR is an array of integers. That is what it means. Any confusion till here? Beautiful. Next one. Next, I'll come to the next line. Now, in this next line, what I'm going to do is I have to now run a for loop, which is going to take integer input, store it in a particular position in the array. How are we going to do that? Simple. Like this, I will tell for, right? And I would like to begin from the 0th index. So I will create an integer variable I, which is my looping variable. And I will initialize it to 0. And I will tell, hey, listen, you must go till maximum the end of this array. How will you write that? In general, you can write by telling semicolon I less than equal to AR dot length minus 1, I will tell. Why minus 1? Because AR dot length will give you 5. But you want to go only till the index 4. And 5 minus 1 is 4. That is why minus 1. Or you can just make this as less than AR dot length. It is totally up to you. Both versions work. That time minus 1 is not required. Next, I will tell I plus plus so that it increments. And inside that, very simple. Now I will want the keyboard to take input. So I will tell scan dot nextint or sc dot nextint. Yeah. And then whatever integer is entered, I want to store it at the index of my array AR, which I is pointing to. Initially, I will be 0. So AR of 0. In general, I will just tell store it in AR of I like this. Now I want to see whether are you sleeping or are you awake. If you're awake and really listening to me, put a yes in the chat with multiple yeses. Yes, you should put so that I know yes, you are listening. Let me see how many of you are really listening or just lying down in your bed and okay, fine. Put a single yes. Okay, very, very smart people. Okay, let's proceed. Now what we have to do is I'll come below the for loop. So this for loop would have taken our input, kept it ready. Next input is k. So again, I will tell scan dot next. And then I will store it in my next int and I will store it in k. Int k. Wonderful. All our inputs is ready. Now comes the processing, right? So what I will do is very simple. Now again, I should run a loop on my filled array ARR. Initially, it was an unfilled array. Because it was integer, automatically allow all zeros in it. But now we are filling it, right, with our values. Now let us iterate. So I'll just go copy this for loop, paste it again. Only thing which is going to change in the for loop is what I will be doing inside. So I'll remove that statement. This will loop over the same array. Now let us do this condition check. So it's very simple. I will tell if in case AR of I is less than equal to the height of the wall, which is k, then he need not bend. Need not bend means to width, I must increase it by 1. But now the question is, where is width? Let us create width. So I'll go, maybe all my variables starting only I'll create. After that array n AR, I'll just create int width like this on top. Int width, I will tell. Wonderful. Initially, I'll make it as 0. Now I'll come back here and I will tell width equal to width plus 1, or in general, you can just tell width plus plus. Wonderful. Else part, I will come. In the else part, else if it is false, it means his height is greater than the wall, he has to bend down. If he has to bend down, width has to be incremented by 2. So I will tell, now there is, you can't tell plus plus, right? So I have to write width plus 2. Width plus 2. And whatever is the value of width plus 2, make that as the new width. So I will assign this to width like this. Any confusion? And ultimately, yes, this will work, but there is a fundamental problem here, right? This part of the code should actually be a function. That is what they have also told. You need to define a function. So what I will do is, I'll just cut this part of the code. I'll just cut it. And I will go outside my main function. Yeah. There I will create one function, right? Or a method, as we call in Java. I'll just, for the time being, I'll call it as void. Is there any, yeah, public also you can tell. Public is not really required. If you are, if somebody from other packages are going to access, it's fine. Anyways, remove that static and void. Static, yeah. Void, I will tell. Next, is there any name that was given for the function in the description? Please check. Because sometimes they say function name should be this only. So I'm just checking if they have given any description. Sorry, road distance. So that is the expected name. So let's also go give that. I will tell void road distance. This is the name. And see here also camel convention. These are coding standards. You have to follow it, right? Anyways, if you don't know what camel convention is, forget about it. I don't have time to start teaching you Java now. Anyways, inputs or parameters. So I will put brackets. What are the parameters? Two parameters. One is it should be a parameter called as heights, which will collect this array which I will send. So what I will do is I'll tell integer array heights like this, comma. Second parameters is h, which is the height of the wall. So I will tell h, which is an integer, right? Wonderful. Next I will paste. Oh. Okay, sorry, because we copied something else. What we copied went off. Now, anyways, it's good we have to type it again. Quickly tell me what will I write. So I'll tell for, right, int I equal to 0, I less than equal to, now, should you tell AR? That would be a mistake because AR is the array here. But inside this function, whatever array you pass will be collected in a variable called as heights. So the name of the array here is heights. So I will tell less than heights dot length minus 1, I plus plus, as simple as that. Next, inside that, whatever I was doing previously, same thing I will do. If in case a heights of I less than equal to k, if that is the case, width plus plus. Okay, here also you should not tell k. K is what we collected in, but in the function we are passing h, right? So I'll tell h, and here I'm going to tell width plus plus. Okay. So here also this width we created it here, it will not be accessible. So I'll cut that width here and I will paste it. Okay, fine. Let that be there. Anyways. So I'll just paste it there, right? Anyways, width is there. Next, else I will tell. Else increase the width by 2. Width equal to width plus 2. Cool. Now, what should we do? After all this width value you would have calculated, that you must take it and return it as output. So I will come outside the for loop and there I will tell return width. Return width. As simple as that. Now you have returned width. What are you returning? You're returning an integer because width is an integer. But what are you telling? Road distance is a function which doesn't return anything. Void, mistake. Change void, make it as int. Because road distance takes an integer array as input, takes an integer h as input, and returns an integer as output. That is how you have to interpret things. Peaceful? Wonderful. Now let us come down. And here what I'm going to do is in my main function, I have to call that. But traditionally in Java, if I scroll up a little bit, if at all, scroll up. Here, what is going to happen is, if at all there is a class and there is a function inside a class, technically this is called as an instance method. Instance method means to access this function, an object of the class should be created. But I don't want an object to be created. Without object creation, I want to call road distance. If you want to make a function in Java, such a function which can be called without object creation, what should you do? One keyword you have to attach. Which is that keyword? Who will tell me in the chat? Let me see. One 5-star chocolate I will give you when I personally meet you. Static is what Amrita is telling. Okay, very good, very good. Static is the right answer. So I will make that function as static. Cool. Now I will come down. And what I will do is just for our sake to check whether it works correctly or not, I'm going to call my static function call as road distance. So see, I'm going to just call it. And inside that I will pass my array AR and I will pass my height K. Whatever it returns, I'll just directly print it. So I'll put it within system.out.println like this. I'll put that bracket as well. Any confusion? Okay. Now let us see whether this program will work. In my computer, I've saved this within a file called as test.java, right? So if I take you to my command prompt or my execution window, I'll just go there and I will put in the command. So I will just tell Java C test.java. First compilation we have to do, right? .java. If I compile, obviously it is going to not give me any error. Next, I'm going to tell Java, and I'm just going to tell test, capital T. Yeah. If I press enter, then keyboard is waiting for input. Which input? N. How many students? I'll tell 5. Next, I'll give the same input, whichever we gave. So some heights you can give. If you can give the same inputs, it will be good. Yeah, 4, 5, 14, 7, and 5. Yeah, correct. Okay. Now, next input is height of the wall, 6. If I press enter, one value I will get like this, 7, which is the length of the road or distance of the road required for them to pass the wall. That's all, guys. If you understood the question and you knew basic loops and one if condition, this question in Mindtree would have taken you 10 minutes to solve. Imagine if I didn't have to explain all this to you. If I just had to write code, it would have taken me 5 minutes, right? But, oh, Mindtree coding interview round, what will happen to me? What am I going to do? That, this. You are unnecessarily complicating your own life. That's all that is happening. Because in life, please remember, if you do the right thing will happen to you. If you don't do the right thing and expect something to happen to you, it will never happen. You do the right thing happens. Are we doing the right thing with our lives? That is a question you should ask yourself every day. Anyways, I hope this is crystal clear to all of you. Shall we proceed to the next question? If yes is the answer, put a yes in the chat so that we can proceed to the next question. And I know, yes, you have understood this completely. Shall we proceed? Okay. Next question. Now, I'll take you to the LMS, show you the question, and I'm going to give you 2 minutes to read the question. Then I'm going to come and give you the solution for it, right? So first, let me see if you can understand. The next question we are going to do is average of multiples. This is what we are going to do. I'm just going to increase the size for your reference, and I will scroll down, and I'm just going to remove myself from the equation. Just read what they're asking. Just try to mentally arrive at a solution. Whatever you think is the right solution, please read it. Question. Let me see how many of you understood this question properly. Let's put a yes in the chat if you have understood it. Let's put a no in the chat if you have not understood it. How many of you understood the question? Answer I'm not asking. Question. Okay. 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 No. Okay. All right. So few of you understood, few of you did not understand. What is the logic behind this? Or what is the question really? Let me just show you, my dear friend. It's actually very, very simple. See, let's go down. Basically, one function. What is the name of the function they are expecting here? Anything they have told? Scroll top. Yeah. No name they have given. Average is the name of the function. What does the average function do? It takes two inputs. It takes one a, which denotes the integer, one n, which denotes the number of multiples. What should this function return? Must return an integer denoting the average of the multiples of a given number. Now, what does this mean? If I come down, he has given some sample cases. So scroll down even more. Yeah. Now, for example, 6 and 5, if he gives, right? What you have to do is start from 6, find the 5 multiples of 6. See, 6 and 5 means 5 multiples of 6 you should calculate. So 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. These are the first 5 multiples of 6. Add them together and then find its average. How will you find the average? Average is nothing but the sum of all the elements divided by the number of elements, and the number of elements is 5. Divide by 5, 18 you will get. If 3 and 5 is given, then 9 should be our output. Now, how did you arrive at 9? Start from 3. Find the first 5 multiples of 3. 3, 5, 9, 12, 50. Divided by 5, 9. That is the average that he wants. Did you understand? So simple. Now, how are we going to do this? Well, there are two ways to do it. There is a extremely easy way and there is an okay way. Now, what do I mean? Let's see. If I take you to my editor, let us see how we are going to be doing this. So watch it. First and foremost, let me visually show you what I'm trying to explain here, right? So watch it, all of you. So 5 is given to me. 7 is given to me. This is the input. What does this mean? This is A. This I will store it in N. So I have to find N multiples of 5, right? And then find its average, which means this is how it would look. What is the first 7 multiples of 5? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. And that I have to add them together and find its average. Average is nothing but number of elements divided by the total sum of all elements divided by the total number of elements. And the total number of elements here is nothing but 7. So now the question here is, the 7 is already given to you. How will you find this first 5 multiples? This is the part which, and 140 divided by 7, which is 20. This is what you should be getting. And the question is, how will you get this part? Very simple. One way to do it is like this. If I write code for you, watch it carefully. I'm going to now just go open my editor, and in my editor, I'll just remove all this code inside, which was for the previous program. So I'll just remove all this. Okay, I'll scroll on top, remove this function also. Anyways, I'll create one static integer function called as average, and I'll keep it ready. Static int average, I will tell. It takes 2 inputs, right? One is my, A is what they had told in the description. See what they have given in the description. Same variable name we will use. So in the description, if I scroll back on top, he is telling that it has to be A and N. Oh, okay, fine. A and N we will call it as. Go back. So I will collect it as an integer A and I will collect it in integer N. Wonderful. What to write inside this we will see. But first let's take this input from the user. So inside the main function, I'm just going to tell integer A itself. We will call it A itself. Those of you who know Java know that it doesn't matter. You can use the same variable names because This is a local variable of average function. This is a local variable of main function. Their scope is different. Name clash does not happen. If you did not understand what I'm saying, then it's time for you to seriously spend some time learning Java. Anyways, I'll just tell equal to scan.nextInt like this. Cool. I'll come down, also collect n value and store it. So I'll just copy that line, paste it again, just change the variable to n. Then what I'm going to do is inside that, I'm going to come and now I'm going to call my average function. So whatever it returns, I'll directly print it. So first only I'll just tell system.out.println. And inside that, I'll just call average and I will pass a and n. Cool. This is done. Now what should you do inside this? Well, it's very simple. First, you would like to generate the first n multiples of 5, right? A is 5, which means this multiples you want to generate. How will you do it? Simple for loop you can use. So what I will do is, ultimately I should find its sum. So what I'll do is, I'll go create one integer variable called as sum inside that. And I'll make its value as 0 initially. Next, I'll come down and what I will do is, I'll run a for loop. This for loop should work 7 times. In general, it should work n times so that n multiples of a, in this case 5, should be generated for me. So how will you write that? Simple. I'll just tell for and I will tell int inside that I. And I this time should not begin from 0. No. If a is 5, that is the first multiple. See, if a value is 5, 5 is only the first multiple, which means it should begin from 5, or in general it should begin from a. So I'll tell, hey, I value, initially your value is a. Next, how many times do I want this guy to execute? I want this guy to execute, or maybe let us not tell a, remove that. Maybe we can make it as 1 itself. We'll make it as 1 because I want the loop to control the number of iterations, right? Forget about it. I'll tell int I equal to 1. Maximum how many times you want it to iterate? I want it to iterate n number of times. So I'll tell I less than equal to n. Now here don't tell -1 and all that. N times it should work. So less than equal to n. One by one, let it increment. So I'll just go here and I will tell I plus plus itself, we will tell. Anyways, I will come inside the for loop. Inside the for loop, what I will do is very simple. Initially, that sum value is 0. But what I want to do is, I want to make that sum value equal to the a value initially. So what will you do, you might ask? Well, it's very simple. What I'm going to do here is, I'll just tell sum equal to sum plus a. Semicolon I'll put. Now the next time this loop works, this a value, which was 5, should not be 5. Instead, what should a value become? 10. Tell me, what is the difference between 5 and 10? Is 5. Which means every time you loop, the a value, whatever its previous value was, should increase by 5. Let's do that. I'll just come down there and I will tell, listen, a value should be plus 5 of the previous value. So I will tell a equal to a plus 5. See, it's very simple. The first time you want sum to be nothing but this 5, right? Next time this a value should become 10. Next time this a value should become 15. Next time this a value has to become 20, then 25, 30, 35. Now I have one very simple question. How can I write this code in such a way that first time a will be 5, second time it will become 10, third time 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. How can I do this? In this line only I must change. Who is listening and is very, very carefully listening? Please tell me, what is this one modification I can do here to this a? Who can tell?
Shivani says a plus sum plus a.
Sum plus a into I. Very, very good. Shivani? Prajwal and Shivani, very good. That is absolutely the right thing, because you don't want a here. What you want is the multiples of a. And how will you get the multiples of a? Very simple. A into 1, a into 2, a into 3, a into 4, a into 5, a into 6, a into 7. And that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that value is with whom? I, because I is starting from 1, which means whatever is the value of I, that you give here, A into I will tell. So first time 5 into 1 is 5, second time 5 into 2 is 10. It works out. No need to separately increment or any of that is not required. That's all. This much is done. Now I will come outside. Once this loop is done, sum I will get. This sum you have got, but you should not find sum. You should find the average. So what I will do is I will tell directly, see, return. What do I want to return? The average. What is the average? Sum of all the numbers divided by the number of numbers which is in n. That's all. I'll return that. That's it. Will this work? Let's go check it out. So watch it, all of you. If I just take you to my execution window, and if in case I just clear the previous output, and if in case I just go and if I put in the relevant command, compile, no issues. If I execute it, then you can notice cursor is blinking. So first I will tell a value, which is 5. Next I will tell how many multiples, 7. If in case I press average, I should get, which is 120 divided by 7, right? Or 140 it was. 140 divided by 7 is 20. Any confusion till here? But there is an easier way to do this. I'll just take you back. There is an easier way to do it. I'll give you a hint. Who can tell me that how in one line, using a mathematical formula, I can calculate whatever they've asked me? Does anyone have a small hint or any idea? Is there, do you think there is an easier way to do it? Nobody? Fight. Okay, Rajshekhar. Good, but not good enough, because A can become 7, then you can't write 7 table. So what do you think? Nothing. See guys. Bodmas, okay. Correct. That puja will make sense if in case you are, as a human being, you are doing it, then all Bodmas rule only have to keep in mind. Computer will anyways follow it. Power function. No, not possible. What else? Range. See, if you are using Python, obviously you can use range function. So that is not, I mean, you're too smart, Sushma. You can actually use range function and do it, but I don't think the interviewer would be very happy with that. Yes, definitely you can do it. You can.
Sum of numbers divided by n.
That is what we did, man. Sum of numbers. Okay, what else? Okay, now look at this, guys. I don't know in school if you have focused. Technically, this is an arithmetic progression. And an arithmetic progression has a formula associated with it. What is that formula? If you ask me, this is that formula. N is nothing but the number of numbers into 2 into A plus n minus 1 into D. What is D if you ask me? What is the difference between two numbers here? 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. That is only D. If you knew this one formula, that is why basic mathematical formulas every programmer should know, which can directly reduce the number of operations your program will take at the memory level from 7 operations to just 1 operation. 7 times you're looping. This formula will work only once. Can you imagine how efficient your program will become, both in terms of time and space complexity? These words are never occurring to you because you do not think from a data structures algorithm perspective. You do not think from a time and space complexity perspective. That is why these problems are happening. Right? So, my dear friends, this formula can easily calculate this for you. Divide that by n, problem solved. Now, the only question is, how from these two inputs can you find D? Because D is required for this formula. Anyways, how to calculate D, I'm showing. It's very simple. See here, 10 is the second number. Minus 5 if I do. The difference is only D. But if you look at D, it is equal to which of these two values? Obviously, it is equal to A. Because when you say arithmetic progression, right? When you say multiples, This is not only an arithmetic progressions, it is multiples. If it is multiples, it is even easier because the difference between any two multiples at any given point of time is going to be the same, and it is going to be same as the first number, which is nothing but 5. So you don't have to do any special value to find out D. D is equal to A because it is multiples. If it was a general arithmetic progression, then maybe it would have not worked. But because it is multiples, it works perfectly. So D also you found out. Then all that is there is for you to write the formula, substitute the values, and upon substituting the value, you are going to get the same thing, which is 140, 140. If in case you divide by the number of numbers, which is 7, you're going to get the same value, which is 20. As simple as that. So shall we directly do this? So I'll go here, remove all this unnecessary for loop and all that I will remove. And there I'll directly apply this value. So I'll just tell, I'll remove that 0. Sum is what you want, isn't it? So I'll tell n. N anyways you have. Into, within brackets, 2 into. A value anyways you have. I will tell A. Plus, within brackets, n minus 1. So n you have, minus 1, right? Into D. In this case, D is nothing but A. So again, I will tell A divided by 2. That's all. You got sum divided by n. That is what you're returning. Code size reduced, efficiency reduced, space reduced, time reduced, everything reduced. Now I will go back. And if in case I just put in the relevant command, and if in case I just clear the screen, recompile, re-execute, you can see compilation, no problem. If I do this and I just put in 5 and I put in 7 and I press enter, same 20. But computer is thanking you, telling you thank you, because unnecessary cycles of execution, you have prevented it. I hope this was an eye-opener for a few of you. Tell me, did you enjoy these two problems which we solved? Or are you bored? If you're bored, I will stop the session here. If you're excited to move forward, then only I'm going to take up the next question and solve it. So tell me, do you want to proceed or do you want me to stop here? Enjoying? Yes, you will always enjoy when you see someone else code for you. But when you try to code, you should enjoy. The day you start enjoying coding is when you will become a very, very good software developer. Because in general, you take any field on this planet, people who have really become achievers, topmost performers in their fields, are only such people who love their job, who don't treat their job as their job. Only such people have scaled heights. People who are doing something just for survival, some salary I want, something engineering I studied, now somewhere I have to work, because I have to work, everybody is saying IT, I will also go to IT. If that is your mentality, then maybe it will work even better. I don't know. All the best to you, right? But let us now proceed and look at our next question, dear friends. So I'll take you back to my LMS. Again, I'm going to open the question. I want you to read it for 2 minutes and then we will talk about the solution. So if I take you coding questions, the next one we are going to do is counting of vowels. Now this should be a very, very easy question because counting vowels, come on. Mindtree has asked such a question. Imagine if you got this question, easily you should be able to solve. But how many of you can really solve it? Let's see, just read the question. So I think you had enough time to read it, and I'm sure this is at least one question all of you would have easily been able to solve. At least I'm hoping that is the case. Now let me go and anyways just provide the solution so that we can go on to the next problem, which is a little bit more challenging. See, the concept is very simple. A, E, I, O, U, these are the vowels in English. You have to basically return the number of vowels in a particular word which you will be taking as input. To give you an example, if in case in my program I were to this is so count the number of vowels in a given string. So Roman is the input. Output is 3 because O is a vowel, second vowel is O, third vowel is A. 1, 2, 3. This should be the case. So obviously, when you take a word as input from the keyboard, you're naturally going to store it as a string because string is nothing but a series of characters, right? So what I will be doing is I'll just store it in a variable called as yes, for example. Now, obviously, a string is nothing but an array of characters, which means they will have index positions also 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What I have to do is to check whether there are vowels. Obviously, I have to run a for loop over the string, and that is what I'm doing. I is the name of the for loop. Next, what I'm going to do is to maintain count. Obviously, I'll have a variable called as count. Now, in Java, in a string, the individual characters can never be directly accessed. You cannot tell yes of 0. You can't do that. But there is an indirect way to fetch the character present in a particular position in a string. And that is the caret method, right? And obviously there is a mistake here because A should be capital because camel conventions you have to follow. Anyways, the point is yes dot caret which position? I. If I is 0, I will get R. Now, whichever character I will get, I will store it in a variable called as C. Now, I have to check if this character C is a vowel. How will you do that? Comparison. Within an if condition, I'm going to be writing these comparisons, which is C a vowel is what I should be checking. So for that, A, E, I, O, U is the words, and this is the condition I will write. So I'll check if C is equal to A, or C is equal to E, or C equal to I, or C equal to O, or C equal to U. But you must not stop here, my dear friend, because if you look at the case of these things, they are all lowercase. But vowels can be uppercase also. So there are two approaches. Either before conversion, you convert your entire string into either uppercase or lowercase, or you satisfy or take care of both the conditions in your if condition, which means I will not stop here. I will further proceed and I will check for same vowels but uppercase, right? So how will this work? It's very simple. In the first time, A is R, C is R because R is the first character. Is R equal to small a, E, I, O, U or capital A, E, I, O, U? None of these conditions satisfy. Obviously, you're going to get false, which means R is not a vowel, which means count is still going to be 0. I'll move I forward. Next character I will get is O. O is a vowel. Increment the value of count, after which I again moves forward. After I moves forward, what you have to do now is take the next character, which is O. Again, check, yes, it is a vowel. Increment the value of count. Value of count becomes 2. After which, this is done. Now you have to move I forward. Next, M you will get. Obviously, M is not a vowel. You are going to get false. Count will not increment. That is done. Next, again, move forward. A, obviously, A is a vowel, which means you are going to get true. If it is true, increment the value of count. After which, I has to obviously move forward. And the last element you have to check. N is not a vowel, you will get false. Last but not the least, count value is 3, and this is what you should be returning. Let's go quickly write the code so that we can look at the last program for today, which is quite an interesting program. So watch it. What I'm going to do here is, I will first of all change this function name to vowels. This also is supposed to accept or return an integer. What will it collect? It is going to take only one input, which is the string. So I will tell int yes or string yes, like this. Sorry, string yes, right? After which, inside that, what to do we will see, but let us first collect the output input. So that is one string. So I will just tell yes dot. Next is how you can be taking a string from the keyboard. I will store that within a variable called a string yes. And then below that, I'll just tell system.out.println. and I will just call my vowels function pass yes as input. Any confusion? Semicolon I'll put. Right. Inside this I will come. What I will do is same thing. You have to run a for loop over it. So that's what I will do. For I equal to 0. Next is I will tell I less than equal to, I must go to the last character. Now, how will I know what is the length of this string? There is a way. What is the way? I will tell yes dot length method I will call. Be very careful. This is where many people go wrong. In arrays, we are just told length, but in string, we are putting brackets. Now, why, if you ask me, obviously there is a deep explanation to it, but in simple words, if I have to tell, a string is an object in Java, right? Length is a method which is present inside the string class of Java, which will automatically calculate for you what is the length of the string and it will return it to you. But in array, length is a variable. It is a variable present within the array object, and hence directly you can access the variable. This is a method, that is a variable. There is a lot of difference between both. If you didn't understand, again, I recommend you to go check out our Java course where all this and more in great detail we have anyways explained, but I'm going to come here and next I'll just increment the value of I by telling I++. And here also, if you notice, I made it less than and not less than equal to, because I don't want the length. I wanted to stop one value lesser than the length because it is index. Roman has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters, but index stops at 5, right? That is the thing. Inside that, I will just tell yes dot character 5. And that I'm going to store it within a variable called as C. C has to be of type character. Next, all you have to do is put this condition and check. So I will just tell if in case, like this, I'll just tell C. Or let us make it even more simple. Before finding the caret, I will just convert yes into all lowercase so that we have to just write one condition. So see, before that, yeah, I'll just tell yes dot to lowercase, I will tell. And once it converts all this to lowercase, that is what my string should be. So I will reassign it to yes. I'm just showing you both approaches. If you do this, everything is lowercase, then only lowercase condition you have to check. So now I will just put all lowercase conditions. A, E, I, O, U. And the value of count, I'll just tell count plus plus, but where is count, you might ask. We'll create it. So I'll just go on top and I'll just tell int count. Okay, equal to 0, and there I'll just tell count plus plus, and ultimately I have to return that value of count, and that is what I'm doing. I'll just come there and I will return count. Cool. Will this work? Let's go check it out. So if in case I take you to my output window and I compile my program, absolutely no problem. If in case I execute it, or it is telling return count, cannot find symbol. Okay, go back. Maybe that count you have created it inside the for loop. See, created it inside the for loop. That is a mistake. So even that caret, everything is inside the for loop. That is not how it should be. Lowercase also, please remove it from inside the for loop. Yeah, and put it outside. Correct. That is what's the case. So because you created count inside the for loop, it is asking, hey, what is this count you're returning? I don't know, because that count was local only to the for loop. Outside it will not be accessible. Anyways, if in case I go back now, and if in case I just put in the relevant command and I just execute it, clearly you can be noticing it like this. Yeah, I will get, you can tell Roman, all caps. It doesn't matter, it'll anyways convert it into smaller case. If I press enter, clearly it is telling 3 vowels are there. So it works. It works, my dear friends. There is nothing for you to think too much about it. Very, very simple program. Now, without wasting any more time, let us look at the last program, and this is quite an interesting program. Again, I'm going to give you some time to read it, and see if you're able to provide a solution for it. Let's go back. This is the last program which I have ready for you. Of course, we can keep doing hundreds of programs like this, but time is of value. Beautiful bracket is the name. I'm not going to read it. You please read it and let us see if in case you have understood it, right? Read it carefully. Guys, sorry for that small glitch. Tell me, are you able to see everything properly, and or any issues you guys are facing? Please let me know. So you're telling yes, you have issues, or no, you don't have issues? Because no issue. Okay, very good. Okay, fine. So I'll give you just one more minute. Read the question, then we will start. La sector no. Okay, wonderful, great. Now let's start with the concept. How many of you have at least a simple idea of the solution in mind? Let me see. Put a yes if you have some idea of what the solution should look like. And if you have no idea, no problem. Put that also.
Yes. Mahesh says yes.
Okay.
Mohan says using ASCII.
Using
ASCII.
ASCII. Okay. Okay. Great.
Says yes. Pawan says yes. Lokesh, Chalula, Mohammed.
Okay. Interesting, interesting. Fine, let's proceed. So now, this is how I propose the solution. Of course, there could be multiple approaches to the same problem, but this is my approach. First, let's visually try to understand what I'm asking you to do. My friends, concept is very simple, right? Basically, the input for your program is going to be a set of parentheses. Actually speaking, just so that the complexity of the problem is not too much, I'm ensuring that it is just one type of brackets, which is a simple brackets, right? Now, you have to tell how many imbalanced brackets are there. Now, what do you mean by imbalanced? See, in simple words, a closing bracket without a opening bracket is only called as an imbalanced bracket. It's as simple as that. So how many such imbalanced brackets are here, if you ask me? Clearly you can see you're starting with a closing bracket. Obviously this is imbalanced, this is imbalanced, this is imbalanced, right? So opening is there, opening is there, opening is there. So maybe one, 2 opening brackets, 2 for closing. The other ones are again imbalanced. So in simple words, if at all a bracket doesn't have its opposite pair, either opening or closing, it is imbalanced. Now he is asking you the count of imbalanced brackets. So how are we going to do this? This is how I would do it. First of all, this is a string, so I would be placing it within a variable. I will call it as yes. To calculate, I will have a count, and initially it is going to be 0. If you can just increase the size of this a little bit. So I don't know if you guys are able to see it properly. I'll just like increase it a little bit for you. Yeah, bring it to the left. Yeah, I hope now it is visible, right? So this is how it is. Now watch and understand carefully. What I'm going to do is, I am going to have a variable called as bracket whose initial value is 0. I am going to start with a, now you might ask why do you have 2 variables? I'll explain. I'll start. I will run a for loop. I want the individual character. How do you collect the individual character? You know, caret method is that I store it in C. Now you want to check whether this is a balanced bracket or an imbalanced bracket. It's very simple. All you have to first do is check if that character is an opening bracket. If it is an opening bracket, as of now there is no problem. No problem. If this condition satisfies, then what you must do is, there are 2 options which can happen. Either the condition will be satisfied or the condition will not be satisfied. Let us start with the condition that yes, it is an opening bracket. So I'm telling true. If it is true, what is going to happen, sir? If you ask me, very simple. If it is true, I am going to increase the value of this variable called as bracket by 1. I'm going to increase it by 1. So see, plus means its value is going to increase by 1. Or if it is false, what is going to happen is the question. Now, in this example, I took the character present at the first index. Look at this character and tell me, is it an opening bracket or is it a closing bracket? Anybody with eyes can see that it is a closing bracket. Which means in my case, this condition is not going to be true. Only if it is true, I'm going to increment bracket, because bracket is a variable which I've created and kept, whose value is only going to increase if it is an opening bracket. I hope I'm clear. Count is a variable I have readied and kept, which is ultimately going to tell me how many imbalanced brackets are there. But condition is not true, so I will not increment bracket. Condition becomes false. Now, if it is false, what does it mean? If it is not opening, it means it is closing bracket. If it is closing bracket, then I have to first check whether it is balanced or imbalanced, because closing bracket doesn't mean imbalanced. Closing bracket without opening bracket is imbalanced. Did you get the picture? So what I'm going to do here is, further I'm going to check something. To check whether this is a bracket which is balanced or imbalanced, I have to check whether there was an opening bracket. How will I check if there was an opening bracket? Simple. If there was an opening bracket, don't you think the value of this bracket variable will be greater than 0? Would you agree with me? So what I'm going to do is, I will come here and I'm going to check, is the bracket's value greater than or equal to 0? I'm going to check. Which means I'm checking if in case there was an opening bracket. If there is an opening bracket, then again the condition can become false. In this case, is the condition true or false? Obviously it is false, because bracket is less than or equal to 0. Correct, it is false. I hope you're able to think, right? So yeah, it is less than or equal to 0. If that is the case, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to decrement the value of bracket, because what it means is that yes, you know, this was not this was a balanced bracket, and hence I'm reducing the value of bracket by 1. Any confusion till here? But at the same time, if in case this happened to be true, if it is true, what I will be doing is, I will increase the value of count by 1, because I know that this is an imbalanced bracket. So very simple. First check if it is an opening bracket. If it is an opening bracket, increment the value of bracket by 1. If it is not opening bracket, it means it's a closed bracket. Now to check whether this is an imbalanced closing bracket or not, check whether there was any opening bracket, right? If there was no opening bracket, then reduce the bracket variable by 1. If at all it was true, then increment the value of count, because it means that it is an imbalanced bracket. It is as simple as that. Just watch it. If I trace this program, see how it works, right? So in the first case, which was the bracket? It was closing. Is closing equal to opening? No. No means true or false? False. False means I'm going to come this side. So that's what I'm just tracing and showing you, false. If that is the case, I will check, is bracket value less than equal to 0? Yes, bracket value is less than equal to 0, which means you encountered a closing bracket without an opening bracket. Less than equal to 0 means what? No opening bracket is there. If there is no opening bracket, this is an imbalanced bracket. The moment you check this and this condition evaluates to true, it means that it was an imbalanced bracket. Imbalanced bracket means increase the count by 1. As simple as that. Similarly, proceed to your next iteration. In the next iteration also, you are going to get the same bracket only, closing. Is closing equal to opening? No. No means I'm just moving the value of 5 forward. Check this condition. Obviously, this condition is going to be false. Check if in case there was an opening bracket, no opening bracket. That is why it will be less than equal to 0, which means this condition is true. If it is true, it means it is an imbalanced bracket. Increment the value of count by 1. It becomes 2. Move the value of I forward, and the next time again, what is it? It is a closing bracket itself. Closing is not an opening bracket, so condition is false. Check if there was an opening bracket. No, even now there is no opening bracket, which means condition is true. If it is true, it is an imbalanced bracket. Increment the value of count by 3. Proceed further. For the first time, you're encountering an opening bracket. Yes, it's an opening bracket. Condition becomes true. If it is true, increment the value of bracket by 1, because first time you have encountered an opening bracket. So make it as 1. As simple as that. After which, move forward. Again, what are you encountering? Opening bracket. Condition is true. Increment the value by 1. As simple as that. After which, move forward. What are you encountering? Again opening bracket, which means condition is true. Increment the value of bracket. It will become 3. Again, move forward. What are you encountering? Again, you're encountering an opening bracket. Condition is true. Increment the value of bracket. Again, move forward. For the first time, you're encountering a closing bracket. If you encounter a closing bracket, then this conditions here, this is a closing bracket. So it will become false. There is a mistake here. We should have shown this as a closing bracket, but I hope you can see this is a closing bracket. So condition is false. If it is false, check if there were opening brackets. How do you check if there are opening brackets? Just check if the bracket value is less than or equal to 0. No, it is greater than equal to 0, which means this condition becomes false. If it becomes false, then this closing bracket is for one of those opening brackets. So they will even out, which means, see, these two will even out. Hence, you have to reduce the bracket count by 1. That is what I am also telling. Bracket minus minus, reduce it. It becomes 3. After which, move forward. Again, you have encountered a closing bracket. A closing bracket, right? And again, here, maybe I have not changed it, but it is a closing bracket. Condition is false. Is there a bracket, opening bracket? Yes, there are 3 opening brackets. Very good. If the condition is false, then please go and reduce the opening bracket count by 1. It becomes 2, which means this closing bracket, this opening bracket has evened out. As simple as that. After that, next what you might ask? Next what means ultimately there is nothing more remaining, and totally how many imbalanced brackets do you have? 3 imbalanced brackets. Any confusion till this point of time? Will this work as per our expectation? Let us just write some code and check it out, all of you. If I go here, watch it carefully. So I'm just going to quickly write the code here. Yes, you are taking a string only. Name of the function is beautiful brackets. It's going to accept a string, yes. And what are we going to do there? That's what I'm going to show you. See here, I'll just go there and I will write this logic as it is. So first of all, find the character at that position. So for that, a for loop should be there. So I'll tell for. And maybe you can just create int c above it only. Create that c before the for loop. Yeah, so char c I will tell, and yeah, initial value you can give it something. Yeah, maybe empty. Yeah, fine. Next I will tell I less than equal to yes dot length, less than yes dot length. It's a method, so I will just put those brackets. Next I will come here and I will tell I plus plus. Next I will come inside that, and here let us start with our thing. So I will first fetch the character yes dot char at I. That I will store it in C. Next what I'm going to do is I'm going to check if in case C is an opening bracket. So I will tell C double equal to opening parenthesis like this. If that is the case, I will come inside and I will increment the value of bracket. But where is bracket? I will create it. So int bracket equal to 0. Also, I will create count also and keep it ready because anyways we require it. I hope you know you can initialize two variables in the same line. No problem. Anyways, I'll come inside this, and there what I'm going to do is I will just increment the value of bracket by 1. Right? Then else. Else means it is not an opening bracket, which means it's a closing bracket. Now to check whether it is balanced or imbalanced, first you should check how many opening brackets were there before it. How will you do that? Simple, if in case. And inside that I will check if brackets value is less than or equal to 0. If this condition is true, it means that there are no opening brackets, but there is a closing bracket, which means it's imbalanced. If it's imbalanced, increment the count by 1. Simple. Next what? Next, if that is the case, okay, else. Else means that there was opening bracket. If there was opening bracket, the closing bracket is not imbalanced, right? So decrement the value of opening bracket by 1. That is what I'm doing. Bracket minus minus. That's it. Simple. Any confusion till here, guys? So now what I'm going to do is I will, at the end of all this, the count is going to have the number of imbalanced brackets, and that is what I should return. So I'll just tell return count. Next, I'll go to my main function, and in the main function, I'm just going to tell system.out.println, and I'm going to call the beautiful brackets method. Println, and yeah, inside that I will just call beautiful brackets and there pass my string yes. Will this work is the question. Let's go check it out. So just look at this and pass the same input. So there are 3 closing brackets, 3 opening brackets, 2 closing brackets. Yeah, fine, 4. So I'll just go there. I'll put in the relevant command. And it is telling I less than, I is not been initialized. Yeah, please make it as 0, int I equal to 0. So we forgot to initialize the loop. So int I equal to 0, I will make it as, yeah. Now I'll go back and put in the command. Yes, yes, and I'll execute it. There you go, waiting. I will pass the input. Yeah, don't press enter. So as you can see, first imbalanced, second imbalanced, third imbalanced, right? So if in case I press enter, it is telling me as 3. Any confusion till here, guys? So basically the way we wanted it to work, it has worked. So the question that I now have for you is, just please remove all this. We can be doing n number of questions like this. And first of all, I humbly apologize for some technical glitches which would have happened here and there. We have tried our best to create a really, really impactful workshop for all of you. And tell me, the last 2 days, whatever time you spent with us, was it in some way or the other beneficial for you? Did you get something out of it, or was it a waste of time? And be honest with me. There's no need for you to flatter me. Tell me, yes, if really you have gained something. know if, anyways, all this you knew and you don't really care. Good. So thank you, guys. Thank you for showing this love and support, because that is what makes us wake up in the morning and do it. See, you must understand, as teachers, we also have really gone through a very difficult phase. All my life, I have taught classrooms where there are 300 students who I am teaching. It's almost like an auditorium, they're live in front of me. Even I had to adapt during this Corona time pandemic. And we had to figure out how we can do online training in the best possible way. And I hope the way these classes have been conducted, using augmented reality as a concept, I hope you have been able to enjoy it. And I hope that you have changed your perspective of whether online learning can be effective or not. Now, my dear friends, if there is some of you who's really looking for online courses, either it could be Java, it could be Python, it could be full stack web development at throwaway price with this kind of quality, then please consider taking up a course in Rumen. We have a 50% discount offer running here as well. You can ask all our previous students how and what they think of our teaching and whether they get benefited by this or not. If in case you are interested in taking up the course, I would just like you to send us a private message with a hi, and on Zoom itself you can privately just message us. Or is there any attendance link or something like that? Yeah, so it is already posted. You can just there will be a section asking whether you're interested in the course or not. Definitely our team will get back to you and will help you out completely with respect to whatever you need. Whether you join us or not, thank you so much for attending these 2 days of workshop, and we will continue to bring such exciting workshops for you. Stay tuned for more. And in fact, we have been working very, very hard on our data structures and algorithms course, which almost solves around 250 to 300 product-based questions. And that would be released very, very soon, maybe in the matter of another month, it should be ready. And that is something which can really accelerate your career. And we will have workshops for that as well. Anyways, my name is Rohit. Thank you so much for listening. I hope all of you stay safe and each and every one of you achieve whatever dreams you have set out to achieve. Thank you so much. Any more doubts you have, any questions you have, please post it in the chat box and we will answer each and every one of them. Thank you so much.